Have you ever wondered how guacamole is made? Okay, well you're in luck because you're going to learn how easy it is with the help of this video. First we're going to go over what you'll need to make guacamole, and then we'll go over the process of making it, and then some tips on what goes good with it. Okay, first you're going to need a cutting board for all your chopping needs, a knife for the cutting, Next you need a bowl to put the ingredients in, and then a spoon to mix it. And some key ingredients you're going to need are tomatoes, onions, cilantro, and salt. And the most important ingredient to this dish, the avocado. Okay, let's get started. First you're going to grab your cutting board and your trusty knife. I like to start with cutting avocados last just to preserve its freshness. Okay, we're going to start by cutting the tomato. Be extremely careful when you handle a knife. Curve your fingers, as I've heard somewhere. Okay, well I like cutting the tomatoes in half, and then after that I like cutting them in slices. Like so. If you can make them even, that'd be great. Oh my god. Okay, after cutting your tomatoes into nice little slices, I like to go a little further, cut them in halves. We're pretty much just going to make little chunks now. Right after cutting the tomatoes into little chunks, you just gather it up using your knife. Just put it on a separate plate. Okay, now we're going to cut the onion into slices. This will be a little easier than the tomato, just because it's a lot harder. Okay, now that we have the onion cut into a slice, we're going to start chopping it into smaller pieces. Okay, after chopping up the onions, you're just going to want to gather it up and put it onto your separate plate. Okay, next up is cilantro. You don't really need a lot, just depending on how much you're making, but just in general you don't really want a lot. Okay, what you want to do when you're cutting the cilantro is kind of just bunching it all together like if it was a whole piece and sliding your knife across it. But watch your fingers. Okay, now since the cilantro is done, you're just going to want to gather it up again and just put it on your separate plate with all your other ingredients. Okay, next we're going to cut the avocado finely. So what's difficult about cutting an avocado is the pit inside. So what you're going to want to do is put your knife into it till you can feel it, like so, and then just cut around it. It should open like so. Okay, after cutting it in half, to get the seed out, you're going to want to repeat the same thing. Cutting it in half like that. Just to make it easy to take out the seed. And just a little tip about making guacamole in general. If you're just going to make some for a party and you're going to make a whole bunch, you might just want to keep the seeds in after you make the whole batch of guacamole, just to keep them fresh. The seeds help preserve its freshness. Okay, now you can either chop it in half again, or you can just take one of the pieces, if you can hold on to them, and just start scooping it out. Okay, now that we got the avocado pieces cut, we're just going to pick them up and put them into our bowl. Okay, now next we're going to mash the avocado a little. Prepare it for the rest of the ingredients. Don't be shy, just get in there good. Okay, now that it's all mashed, we can start adding ingredients to it. Start with some tomatoes. Okay, tomatoes are all mixed. Now I'll put in some onion, not too much onion, because I'm not the biggest fan of onions. But it is necessary for guacamole. After that, some cilantro. last ingredient, salt. You just mix that up too. Okay guys, here's the final product. It's a very fun dish to make and it's not too hard to do. Okay, now we're going to go over some ideas that you can pair your guacamole with. First off, chips. Or you could add your favorite hot sauce to your guacamole to give it a little extra spice, like my favorite, Gringo Bandito. It goes good with tacos, burritos, quesadillas, and nachos. It goes good on sandwiches, cereal. It goes good on DVDs, smartphones, invisible spaghetti, and of course, puppies. And this concludes the video of how to make guacamole.